Greetings, this is part 2 of my series of videos on my wishlist about the Elder Scrolls 6 and how in my opinion the game should look like. Note that you are not obligated to agree with me, even though my vision of the game is the best. But please leave your feedback. What do you think about the list? Which one you like and which you don't? And without further ado, let's get back to the list. Number 6 on my list, and it will be a short one. I would like to see the arena returned in Test 6. If you don't know, there was an arena in Test 4 Oblivion, something like gladiators fights in Colosseum. You were able to make bets on them and perform as a fighter yourself. It was a good way to make money. For those who didn't know, Skyrim was supposed to have an arena as well. It was cut out, but the location that was supposed to be the arena still remains in the game files. It would be cool if the arena would return to us in the next Scrolls game in form of boss-like battles. With the new modern combat system, it could be one of the best parts of the game. Number 7 on my list are your companions in the game. I mean those characters whom you take with you on a journey. For example, Lydia is one of your first companions in Skyrim. There are many memes about her, but this fame came to her not because she's a cool companion or an interesting character. In fact, everybody knows her because she is usually a first companion. She is assigned to you on the main quest almost at the beginning of the game, so the player spent a lot of time with her. And then you laugh at the fact that she gets stuck in doorways, not letting you pass, dies on traps and so on. Lydia is just a portable pocket for carrying your loot, and most of your companions are the same. Even the characters who have their own personality in the story, when you take them with you, all their personality disappears. I'm talking about characters like Layla and other members of Companions of Whiterun, who are interesting characters, but that is before you take them on a journey with you. In Starfield, for example, compared to Skyrim, companions have their own personality, which is very cool, but there's something that I didn't like. It seems to me that your companions in Starfield are too alive. For example, they can interfere into a conversation, which is cool, but at the same time it makes your playthrough and story less personal. Bethesda borrowed this idea from Dragon Age. In Dragon Age, characters love to interfere in the personal conversations. But there should be a limit to this. No need to turn Test 6 into Dragon Age. It's too much in my opinion. Just comments in different situations that reflects characters' beliefs and morals are enough. Something like Serana from Skyrim. No wonders everyone liked her so much. However, I think Starfield companions lack their own personal quests, something like in Mass Effect series for example, and also a little conclusion to clarify my points. It's cool if your companions have cool personality, but they shouldn't interfere in your personal space and make the story less personal. It is possible to flesh out their characters and their personality by making questlines for them. Again, looking at Serana, we can see that formula executed perfectly. Basically, the whole Dawnguard DLC is Serana's questline, and everybody liked her. She is a good example on how companions must be in Test 6. Now, before we move on, let me self-promote really quick. First, there are already 6 more videos on this exact topic, because this video is a remake of my old video. The links will be in the comment section. Aside from that, I make videos on a broad variety of video game topics. See for yourself. Number 8 on the list is shops, and there are several things that needs to be fixed and changed. First is the amount of gold merchants have. I understand why it is the way it is in Skyrim, but I liked it better in Oblivion. In Oblivion, one merchant has a limit of, for example, 1200 septims per item, but the merchant can buy an infinite amount of items. In Skyrim, the merchants have gold limit, for example 720 septims, and that's it. If the player has more things to sell, one will have to run around the whole Skyrim just to sell the loot that one has. And although in theory this should be realistic, in reality, constantly using fast travel in an effort to sell one's loot destroys the immersion in the game world and just annoys and wastes your time. So, in Oblivion, you can sell all the junk in 2 minutes, where in Skyrim it can take up to 10 minutes. Now, if you don't want to make an infinite amount of money for merchants, you can simply raise the maximum amount of money to 10,000. And if developers want players to go to different shops, You can make a difference in prices. For example, a sword merchant can buy a sword for the highest price. You can also sell a shield, but it will cost 90% of its price, or even 80. Thus, people who want to sell quickly will be able to do so, and people who want to get the maximum price, but are willing to spend time, will also be satisfied. Now, there is an alternative, for example, a system like in Kingdom Come Deliverance, where the more you trade with a merchant, the more money one has, so that's also an option. Besides what I mentioned earlier, there is one more thing that contributes to wasting of players' time while selling loot. The store's working schedule it's a joke. In Oblivion, the shopkeepers have a clear schedule. 8 AM the shop opens, and the player always understands how long one has to wait to sell. Skyrim, on the other hand, has a flexible schedule. The shop opens somewhere between 8 AM and 4 PM. This is annoying and wastes the player's time. At the end, it takes much longer to sell loot in Skyrim than in Oblivion. In short, there are many options, but in Test 6 it is definitely a necessity to reduce the amount of time a player spends selling loot. Number 9. Another aspect of trade that must be fixed in Test 6 is the number of ingredients for sale. So what I mean is that if you're trying to create an alchemist build in Skyrim, you will inevitably face the problem that shopkeepers do not have the necessary amount of ingredients for sale. They literally have them for sale one at a time. By the way, this applies not only to ingredients for alchemists, but also to potions, scrolls, soul gems, metal ingots, etc. They are simply not for sale. I will describe the issue from the perspective on an alchemist build that I've tried to create in Skyrim. In order for an alchemist character to clear a dungeon, the player needs to run through fields and collect herbs. But wait, there is more. What herbs will the player collect? And will they be useful to the player? Do these herbs have the effects that the player wants? Often, no. The player grabs everything that sees and then figures out whether one needs it or not. In such cases, ingredient shops are a great alternative, but the problem is that there are not many ingredients in the shops. For example, a player wants to brew 20 potions that increases the effectiveness of one-handed weapons. But no, the game doesn't allow you to buy the ingredients you need. So you go to a forest and collect half a ton of herbs, among which there will be 2 or 3 ingredients that have the effects that you need. Of course, I have nothing against collecting ingredients. Some people like it, but the player should have an alternative to those time-consuming activities. In the end, the player pays for the ingredients. And this, as I said, applies not only to ingredients. For example, a lack of arrows for archers. Yes, arrows can be made by the player, but not everyone likes to run around looking for an axe, chopping wood and forging arrows themselves. So why not allow the player to buy 500 hours at a time and not worry about their shortage? Or, for example, the sale of spell scrolls. The scrolls in Skyrim are expensive, so the player will not be able to afford to clear the entire game with them. So why not give the player the opportunity to buy enough scrolls to make a significant contribution to the completion of a mission? In short, you get the idea. The player shouldn't be limited by the lack of resources. It is annoying, not fun, and it actually makes the economy of the game bad. In Test series, the player usually sells a lot and hardly buys stuff that one needs. Bethesda just doesn't provide the player with stuff to buy. The player just doesn't spend and collects the money to buy a house, just to never visit it again. That's not how the game should function, and a lot of resources in shops is the way to make the economy of the game work. Number 10. Short exits from dungeons. We all remember how in Skyrim you would go into a dungeon, clear it, and at the end of each dungeon there is a secret passage that leads to the very beginning of the dungeon. It's kinda frustrating, the same pattern over and over again. On the other hand, this saves the player a lot of time, so the player does not spend 5 or 7 minutes just running back to the exit. On the other hand, doesn't it seem unrealistic to you? Well, there can be a secret passage in some dungeons, but in everyone? Personally, I find it even annoying. It seems like I've wasted my time going through a dungeon for no reason. Because there is a secret passage that will lead to my goal. The chest, the boss, or the item. I just can't open this passage from this side. So, is there an alternative to those shortcuts? Teleportation. Yes, you heard me right. Teleportation. For many Skyrim players or even Oblivion players, it sounds like something new. But in fact, teleportation has already appeared in the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. So this is not something new for the series. This mechanic just needs to be brought back to Test 6. Since I doubt that many people who are watching this video have played Morrowind, I will tell you how it worked there. There were two types of spells. Marking, you mark your location, and Summon, you are teleported to the marked location. As simple as that. Before entering a dungeon, you mark your location at the entrance, and after you clear it, you teleport back. Or you can teleport straight to a city to sell your loot. It could even be used in fights. And what about the builds that don't use magic at all, you may ask? You could buy scrolls in shops with these spells, or even potions with the same effect. Or for example, enchanted stones, something like soul gems. There's a lot of ways how to make it work. And that's it for today. Don't forget that there are already 6 more videos like this one. The links to them will be in the comment section. There are also more videos on a broad variety of video game topics. For example, check out this video, or this one, or any other. And if you are interested in the mods that were featured in this video, it is Skyrim Ultima modlist, and the footage I took from YouTube channel, Nooked. The link to the channel will also be in the comment section. See you later.